Jung understood something most modern men never hear. Strength isn't something you add to yourself like armor. It's something you uncover by facing what you've avoided inside yourself. The man who only builds muscle but never builds inner awareness becomes rigid, not strong. The man who only meditates but never confronts reality becomes passive, not wise. True maturity, real masculine presence, comes from integrating every part of yourself. Not choosing masculinity as performance, but becoming masculine as a result of inner alignment. Today, I want to take you through Jung's 4 psychological stages that turn a man into someone others can trust, follow, rely on, and feel safe around. Not because he forces respect, but because he embodies it. These are not abstract ideas. They show up in your relationships, your career, your failures, your habits, your self-talk, and the way you carry yourself. Before we begin, know this. If you feel like you're in between phases of your life, too old to be a boy, not yet the man you know you could be, you're exactly where every strong man begins. This tension is not a flaw. It's the forge. Now let's walk through these 4 stages. Slowly, honestly, practically, so you can live them instead of just understanding them. Phase 1. Waking up from the identity you were given. At some point in a man's life, he realizes that the version of himself he's been playing isn't the whole truth. Maybe you were the dependable one, the achiever, the quiet one, the one who always kept peace, the one who never showed weakness, the strong one, the provider, the nice guy, the rebel, the funny one, the stoic, the helper, the protector. Whatever your role was, someone praised you for being that way, or punished you when you weren't, and so you learned to wear that identity like armor. It helped you survive childhood, school, relationships, workplaces, and expectations. But eventually, that armor becomes too tight. Have you ever felt like you built a life only to realize parts of you never had a say in it? As if you followed a script you didn't write? Jung called this the persona, the mask we wear so others accept us. In the beginning of a man's journey, the persona feels like the whole self. But eventually, you notice the cracks, the frustration, the sense of, I'm doing everything right, so why do I feel wrong? The moments when your life looks stable, but internally something feels underfed, quiet, dormant, buried. This awakening usually starts subtly. A sudden lack of interest in the things that used to motivate you. A sense of emotional tiredness despite achieving goals. An unexpected envy toward those who live more freely. A whisper inside saying, there is more in me than this. This is not midlife crisis, it is identity, truth knocking at the door. And here's the actionable part. Begin questioning your automatic roles. Don't reject them, just ask, is this really me? Or the me I become so others approve? For the next week, every time you feel tension, pause and say internally, who is choosing this? My truth or my conditioning? Simply noticing this begins the transformation. Now, before we move into the next phase, pause and realize something powerful. If a man never questions the identity he inherited, he never becomes the identity he was meant to create. And this brings us to the second phase. Phase 2. Meeting the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Once you recognize the persona isn't the whole you, something uncomfortable happens. The parts you pushed away start resurfacing. The anger you swallowed, the creativity you suppressed, the assertiveness you were punished for, the sensitivity someone mocked, the ambition you were told was arrogance, the masculine drive you hid to seem safe, the softness you buried to seem strong. Jung called this the shadow, and most men misunderstand it. It is not just your dark impulses. It is your repressed power, your exiled potential, your unclaimed emotional strength. You do not become stronger by pretending they aren't there. You become stronger by learning to stand in front of them without flinching. Here's how shadow shows up in everyday masculine life. You judge in other men what you deny in yourself. You snap at your partner, not because you're angry at her, but because you're angry at your own helplessness. You fear confrontation not because you lack strength, but because you buried your aggression long ago. You avoid rest not because you are disciplined, but because stillness exposes your self-worth struggles. A man who never explores his shadow becomes emotionally fragile, easily triggered, easily offended, easily threatened, constantly proving himself instead of being himself. But here's the actionable part, and it might surprise you. Shadow work isn't sitting alone journaling about your darkness. It is practicing honesty in real time. For the next 10 days, when you feel irritated, instead of suppressing it, say silently, "Something in me needs attention." When you feel jealousy, say, "This reveals a desire I have not expressed." When you feel insecurity, say, "There is strength here I have not developed yet." Shadow work is not punishment. It is integration. Now notice what happens here. Once you stop rejecting your inner truth, deeper instincts wake up. Confidence that comes from clarity, boundaries without aggression, honesty without self-hatred. And if the first phase awakens the question, "Who am I, really?" This phase awakens, "What am I capable of if I stop being afraid of myself?" Which leads us to the third phase. A phase most men fear, but no strong man avoids. If this journey eases something inside you, stay with us. Subscribe, and each step will bring a little more clarity. Thank you. Phase 3. Choosing courage over comfort. Knowing who you are internally means nothing if you refuse to live it externally. Jung said that when a man begins to integrate his shadow, life will challenge him, not as punishment, but as initiation. A man becomes stronger not when life gets easier, but when he stops negotiating with fear. There comes a moment in every man's life when the familiar becomes suffocating, not because it is bad, but because he has outgrown it. He feels called to speak more truthfully, set clearer boundaries, stop pleasing everyone. Pursue what matters instead of what validates. Stop avoiding conflict. Stop living small to avoid criticism. This is the stage where comfort tries to seduce you back into obedience. Comfort says, "Stay here. Don't risk being misunderstood. Don't outgrow them. Don't leave the safety of who they think you are." But courage whispers, "Who you could become is worth the discomfort of who you will no longer be." Here's the practical application. For the next month, choose one courage act per day. Small, consistent, real. Say what you truly think once per day. Make one decision without seeking reassurance. Spend 1 hour on the task your future self needs, not your present comfort. Ask directly for what you need. Say no without apology once a week. Let someone be disappointed in you without collapsing. Strength isn't loud. Strength is steady. Strength is a spine, not a show. As you begin doing this, something shifts inside. You stop being afraid of disappointing others because you finally stop disappointing yourself. And once a man begins honoring himself, something deeper awakens. The fourth phase is where power becomes peace, and few arrive here without inner surrender. Phase 4. Becoming a man with authority over himself. When Jung spoke of individuation, he didn't mean perfection, he meant wholeness. A man becomes whole when he is no longer at war with himself. His thoughts, emotions, instincts, values, and actions align. He becomes centered, grounded, trustworthy. Not because life made it easy, but because he trained his inner world to support him instead of sabotage him. In this stage, strength is not force. Strength is presence. You feel the difference in men who reach this. They don't rush to defend themselves. They already know who they are. They don't seek validation. They respect themselves. They don't need to win every argument. They value truth over ego. They don't dominate others. They lead by example. They don't fear emotion. They navigate it like weather, not war. Their presence calms a room instead of trying to control it. You know you're entering this stage when you start choosing self-respect over attention, purpose over distraction, discipline over impulse, responsibility over escape, authenticity over performance, truth over comfort, presence over reaction. The practical work here isn't dramatic, it is consistency. Daily practices to solidify this stage. Morning stillness. Listen before acting. Speak intentionally, not reactively. Build a routine aligned with your values, not your moods. Treat your body like your ally, not your punishment. Keep your word, especially to yourself. Seek challenges intentionally. Surround yourself with men who embody strength, not show it. Your reward: a quiet power, a stable mind, a disciplined heart, a presence that does not need explanation. This stage is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming the man you always were, beneath the noise, the fear, the conditioning, and the armor. And now we arrive at your turning point. Closing invitation. Right now, you stand in one of these phases, waking up to who you really are, facing the parts of yourself you once avoided, choosing courage over comfort, becoming internally aligned and sovereign. No stage is better than another. Every man cycles through them. Every man begins again. Strength is not a destination. It is alignment practiced daily. So ask yourself, what one action can I take today that a stronger version of me would take? Start there, not perfectly, reliably. And if this resonated, subscribe and stay in this work with us. There are few men in the world willing to do this kind of internal lifting. The fact that you're here already puts you among them. Well done. Now continue. Begin. If you've stayed with me until now, it means you're searching for something deeper, maybe an answer you've carried since childhood. Don't stop here. Perhaps the next video holds the key you've been waiting for, the piece that helps you untangle another thread of your story.